Welcome, everybody, to another interview to where we cheers to 10 years of 17 Hats. I'm your host, Amanda Ray, and today I am joined by 17 Hats ambassador and member, Katie Ellison. Katie, thank you so much for being here with me.
Thank you.
Before we dive in and talk about all the good stuff and the journey of entrepreneur, solopreneurship, Katie, tell us a little bit about you, where you're from, what you do, how long you've been in business. Give us the details.
Katie Ellison. I'm currently here in Colorado, but my photography journey has been all over the place. I should also start. I'm a photographer. I'm a photographer for over 13, 14 years. I started in Kansas City, and then I married into the military. We moved around a ton, and I've had corporate jobs, and I've quit those corporate jobs. But the only consistent thing I've had is I've always taken photo shoots kind of everywhere I've been. I've been in Kansas City, Florida, Georgia, and now Colorado in the last about 6, 7 years.
That's amazing. So you've traveled.
Yeah, it is a lot of travel. And I still travel a lot. I still have clients in Kansas City that I go and see a lot. So I actually just left from this weekend to do a 1 year photo shoot of a family that I photographed all their babies. So it was kind of like it was a great closing. It was their last baby's 1 year shoot. So that was fun.
That is so amazing. I mean, I think it's so difficult whenever you move to a different city with a business, right? So whether it's part-time or full-time, having to kind of start over, reestablish yourself, make friends, make networking acquaintances, all of that. Talk to me a little bit about how you overcome that, because that's a journey in itself.
It is. I was actually pretty lucky. I don't know where it was. I can't remember if I met her at this event or before. But I know she also works for 17 Hats. It was Meredith Rankars.
Yes.
I met her very early on, and she was starting her business, The Restart Specialist, and she really helped me without those multiple moves. But also, we were both members of 17 Hats, so she was kind of helping me integrate the things that I've messed up on the first few years of 17 Hats because I had no idea what I was doing, helping me with better business practices and helping me see what I needed to do like 6 months to a year before I needed to get there, and helping me really work with like different workflows and all that such in 17 Hats to deal with moving, like different workflows to deal with this client, but out of state. Like it was a whole different ball field.
It is. I mean, if you're dealing with different clients that are out of state, that not a hop, skip, and jump away from you, it's a totally different play. It's a totally different game you're playing there. How are you? How do you continue? I guess I'm so many questions in my head right now. I'm having a hard time getting them out. But how do you continue that relationship? I mean, that's tough. Or did you let some of those relationships abandon? Did you continue some? How do you do that?
I've definitely have let some go because some families they don't want to wait for me to come back quarterly. I try to go back once a quarter when I could, and now it's starting to turn into about twice a year. And I try to let clients know I have an email campaign that goes out a few months ahead to kind of let people know I'm coming. This is the week. This is what we plan to do. But over the years, people have become friends with my clients and they realize, oh, you're photographers in Colorado. Well, I'm here. Can I photograph you here? And it's completely understandable. But there's some clients, like the lady who I photographed her entire family. They're open. They're like, hey, when are you coming back? And it's really just more of like, it's more of a customer service level. If they were always just a, hey, I'm coming into town, can I take your money kind of relationship, they would never respond back. But
Yeah, I mean, the word that popped into my mind as I listened to you talk is loyalty, right? Is how do you create these loyal customers that are willing to wait for you to come back, for you to photograph them? Like, do you have any tips and tricks there or anything you can reflect on and go, wow, this is what I did to create such loyalty?
it's pretty true. Not letting them notice the empty space, and it's really hard because I've missed other milestones of the family, but I keep the customer relationship going throughout I am also friends with most of my clients
Mm-hmm.
on Facebook, and I know what's going on in their lives. It's kind of turned into friendship at this point with that particular client, but my other clients where I haven't particularly become friends, I still follow them on Instagram, but those are the clients that I've kind of had to let go. But the I've probably I would say I've probably kept about 20% of the clients in Kansas City over 10 years from moving from Kansas City.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that there is a fine line in friend and client, right? Because if you become too friendly with your clients, they tend to take advantage. Can you talk to me a little bit about that, about how you've kind of navigated that world of keeping clients as friends? And obviously, some clients, I mean, I even have them too. Like, there are some members of 17 Hats that they are my family now. Like, they are friends. But I think that you have to be careful walking that line sometimes.
Yeah. If they start to if they start to cross over into the friend zone, they start to cross over into the friend zone, then they start hearing other conversations I've had, like how I need to pay for this and I have a life. And then they start realizing that time is money. Same for them, because a lot of these friends that I have, they also do their own businesses as well, and they all understand time is money, even though we do love being around them. My clients totally knew I drove 8 hours to photograph them for 2 hours and drove 8 hours back. I do have family in Kansas City though, so it was kind of a family trip, but they do understand my time is worth something to me. And it's really also finding your people, because there are clients that just want to find a photographer real fast, photograph, and then just be done. And there's some clients that really do love having a relationship, because all her kids, they weren't fantastic to photo shoot in the beginning, but now they love me. They run up to me and I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? I love their kids. They're great. And having that relationship with a photographer can also benefit clients as well.
Absolutely, because I think with photography, you're really trying to get out their most authentic self. You're trying to get natural smiles, you're trying to get good smiles, and and trying to get their little personalities to shine as well, especially with children. And if they've never seen you before, if they don't know anything about you, children especially will automatically be hesitant of who is this woman, and I'm just supposed to sit and smile and say cheese, right? Because that's what parents typically ingrain into their children.
Yeah.
And so having a relationship is huge. How do you think? I love this conversation on relationship. It's a conversation I haven't had with any other 10-year interviews, but I think it's such an important conversation because, you know, the saying used to be money makes the world go round. I think relationships make the world go round.
Especially after COVID, after the years of separation. I've always been itching for just interaction again and talking to people and
Yeah.
connection.
I think money follows relationships. I think money follows connection, especially in business. But I think relationship and connection's huge. So, what is it that you do as a small business owner? Can you shine some light into that? What is it that you do that helps you build these relationships with your clients, and connection with your clients, so that they can become loyal, so that you can do your job the very best, and they can show up being the very best they are.
Yeah, I would say, like with the client at my current client that I was speaking about, I've built that relationship for a long time before I knew what I was doing. And she just stayed a really good, lucky friend. But now, like when I build my relationships now, I see how I built those in the past and what I do now to current clients who don't know me that well. And they can't just be my best friend right off the bat. Um, and it does, not to put it in there, but it definitely does start with the 17 hats, because it helps me keep everybody straight and it helps me keep everybody separate. And because I can ask so many questions before sessions, I can ask everything I need to know. So I'm not asking them questions at the session. I know who they are. I know what they're like. I'll start following them on Facebook if they follow me back, and we'll connect that way. But it's really getting to know them in the beginning and then letting them know at the session that I know they're a human and they're not just a session. I know that your dog Sparky just passed away. You put it in the questionnaire. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like, really? like showing that I really want the relationship over taking just a good photo and maybe selling it to them later. I really just want people to remember their time with me as memorable and stress-free and happy.
Yeah, that client experience is so important in order to provide your service in the very, very best way. So I love that you use the 17 ounce questionnaires for kind of onboarding and getting to know, because again, I think that is one way to elevate yourself from all the other photographers, or if you're a balloon artist listening, or whatever profession that you are. Being able to ask those questions in advance, get to know your clients in advance, gives you gives you just one step forward in maintaining or creating a relationship, and maintaining a relationship and building on it, which is so important. um, as you journey forward, right? I mean, you've been in business for a long time. You've obviously jumped to different states and just kind of keep moving. I think mindset plays a huge role in helping you achieve success, right? What has your mindset been through all of this, through your business journeys, of just helping you keep moving and grooving?
My personal mindset is I have I have been burnt out before and I didn't want to do that again. I know I can make money in the corporate world. I know I can make money having someone else tell me what to do 24/7. And it's very stress free. But I love doing what I want to do. I love being able to take 2 weeks off if my family really needs to
Yeah.
without asking permission for someone else. So I will continue to do what I love doing, which right now it's photography. I've just been really great at it. But if I could find another niche that would make my family as much money,
Yeah.
I would do it. But I love photography currently. So as soon as I don't like it anymore and I can't stand it, I'm going to quit. But uh, with all of the struggles I've had from back in the day when I just had email, like that's all
Yeah.
I was using to keep track of things. And my life is updated. I've had a kid. I've moved 4 times. I've had two different kinds of full time jobs.
Yeah.
I've changed the kind of my business about 3 different times. Just being able to keep everything straight in 17 hats has been able to help me stay creative. I don't get burnt out as much because I don't get bogged down by all the things that I don't enjoy, which is documents and workflows. But if I could just set it once in 17 hats and be done, which is pretty awesome.
That's amazing. Burnout is such a thing, right? I think that people don't realize that you're getting close to burnout. I think burnout sneaks up on us really quickly. Like we're good one day and then the next day we're just done. And so we do have to manage our energy so much as solopreneurs, and small business owners, because we get so excited about some things that we just go, 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 go. And so I love that you're very aware of it and just trying to make sure that you're doing what you love, which is photography, and you're leaving the rest of 17 hats. So I want to dive in a little bit to 17 hats and how it's helped your business. How did you find 17 hats? What was your business like before 17 hats? How has 17 hats helped you? Let's kind of dive into that portion of it.
I looked it up before I had this interview because I was like, when did I actually start? It was so my first bill, according to 17 Hats, was January 6th, 2015.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I I met 17 Hats at Shutterfest, a photography conference that's in St. Louis.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah. I think we were at Shutterfest second, because they just turned 10 last year. So we were at their second conference the second year. So we've been at Shutterfest every year since that.
Yeah, and I thought they started 2014, but I was like, I know I didn't go the first year. I think I went the second year, but I was like, if I started January 6th, 2015, I'm like, that's not mathing right, is it?
Nothing right. But what could have happened, what so many people do, and what we find happens so often, is that they hear about us, and then it's like you almost kind of have to get mentally ready to use 17 hats, or to like kind of change your process. And so they hear about us, and then they just kind of wait a little bit. And then the new year, which is when people are most excited, they're like, I'm going to do this for my business, right? Like, I'm going to make my business a business this year. So the new year, obviously, we see a lot of people join 17 hats. So that makes sense to me.
I could have joined the gym. Instead, I joined 17 Hats.
It's so funny. We like to say 17 hats is the gym for your business.
That's true.
And so that's kind of like, we don't necessarily say it externally, but we say it internally a lot, because it is. So talk to me about some of the features that you have found success with in 17 Hats.
Like from when I first started, or probably in the last few years?
Yeah, at any point.
Well, when I started 17 Hats, I was blown away just because they could keep track of contracts. They could keep track of my bookkeeping. Like, it was just something so very simple for me at that time. And I was like, oh, they could do automated emails. That's great. And then I bought into it. And then I probably created a few workflows. I probably imported about 15, maybe 20 of my current clients
Mhm.
incorrectly.
That happens sometimes.
I was importing leads as clients. So it go about 6 years later, I had a lot of clients and they were just leads. And when I realized what I had done, I was like, it's going to be a weekend of cleaning. But yeah, so I loved the whole automation of it.
Yeah.
And then I did about 2 years after that, I did dive into my corporate job a little bit harder because we moved and I had to focus on nailing that down. So I kind of forgot about 17 Hats for a little bit, but I still did the monthly because it was so inexpensive. It didn't really matter. And I kept everything up there. So maybe a few years later, I was in Georgia and I knew I was going to get more clients because I just had my baby. And now I was ready to take on more clients. And then I cleaned up 17 Hats. And then at this point, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I know there was a time I was asking someone about it was the app. I was like, when are we going to get the app? And I think it was that next year that there was an app and it was
Was
so great keeping it on the phones.
2018 we launched the app.
Yeah, I had my baby in 2017. So 2018, I dove back into it. I cleaned it up. It was still very inexpensive. I don't think I even noticed that
Yeah.
because I had been purchasing it since 2015. I had maybe upped my level a little bit and I didn't even know. So I dove back in. I was cleaning everything up. And that's when I took my business more seriously. I started diving into email platforms. I dove
Yeah.
into scheduling uh, websites as well. And then I've been chugging along like that for a few years. And then when you guys finally came up with your scheduling, it was just like, it was so fantastic. And at that point, I had a mutual friend ask me if I wanted to be an ambassador for 17 Hats. I was like, yes, go 17 Hats. I love them. So,
Yeah, the mobile app was such an interesting part because we were told, apps are their own thing. Everybody thinks it's kind of easy to make an app, and it is easy to make an app, but when you have a desktop version to make an app is really difficult.
mhm,
And so
yeah,
we were always told by development teams, no, 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 you can't make this into an app. And then we found some developers that were like, we can do it. And we were like, cool, do it. Right. And the big thing is we wanted to make the app exactly what you have on desktop. Like I didn't want the app to be only 20% of what you have on desktop or 30%. I
yeah.
wanted exactly what you have on desktop. And so that was such a big win for us internally and externally because we were told no for so many years because the app has so much capabilities, right? The platform has so much capabilities. And so to be able to do that, and what's funny that you bring up online scheduling is we were supposed to build online scheduling because we didn't think we could do the app. We were told no. And then when this development team came in and said, no, we can build the app, we were like, pause on online scheduling, build the app. Right. And so we switched it because we knew the app was in more of a need than online scheduling was at that time. So I find it funny that you bring up the two because that it was a big thing at that time of the app or online scheduling. No, let's do the app. It was a huge decision for us. But I love that. Looking back at kind of your journey over, gosh, all these years, all the moves, getting in and out of business, maintaining kind of that work life balance as well with your children and your family, what is it that you would say to people just starting out in business that are kind of in your shoes? What advice would you give them to get on a successful path in business and be able to still be doing what they love 10 years later? Because that's, a lot of people can't do that.
I was about to say something else, but the quote from that Sandra Bullock movie, the other side or whatever, the football player one. She's like, if you don't love it in the store, you're not going to wear it. So you have to love what you're doing, love it, in love with what you're doing, or else you just won't do it anymore. And I had another one.
Oh
Oh,
my goodness.
it takes a village.
Yes.
So don't be ashamed to ask for help, like some people were.
It,
Thinking that right out of community college, I know it all.
yeah,
Because everybody in the industry, not everybody, but a lot, the ones you need to be friends with, they expect your questions. They want your questions. Because sometimes I love answering questions because it helps me feel smart.
that's
So,
so funny.
yeah,
It's true though. I had several people when I asked this question, I've asked this question on every interview, and I've had several people say the exact same thing, right? Like don't shy away from the questions, right? Don't think you have to go at this alone. You don't. There's people that you can ask questions to. There's people you can lean on. You just have to find your people. So I appreciate that. And I think we do. I think when you get to certain expertise, you love sharing your knowledge with people. I have found that with myself, like there's no question I won't answer or try to give my best answer to, because sharing that knowledge is a great thing. It just helps all the industries, all the small business owners all together. So I love it. Katie, thank you so much for being here, sharing your journey with me, talking to me about, gosh, an insight into your life, to your moves, to you as a photographer. We appreciate you.
well, thank you. I had a fun time. Thank you so much.
All right, Katie, one last question. Anybody who wants to learn more about you, where can they go?
For me and weddings, I am at simplygrace.com and they can just contact me directly through the contact page there.
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks, Katie, again. We appreciate you being on. And for everybody else listening, thank you for joining us. And until next time.